Psalm 139, 13 through 16 says, "For you have possessed my reins. You have covered me in my mother's womb. I will praise you, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are marvelous, and that my soul knows very well. My substance was not hidden from you when I was made in secret and skillfully formed in the lowest parts of the earth. Your eyes saw my substance still being imperfect. And in your book all my members were written, which in continuance were fashioned when as yet there were none of them." So David is talking about when he was made in his mother's womb by the Lord. He says that God saw his substance, even though he was only an embryo. And even before that, of course, God called Jeremiah from the womb. God knows us from eternity past. He knows us before we were ever made. And what I'm going to show you in this video is that God created us and formed our bodies according to the golden ratio design, the very same golden ratio design that's found in the Bible. And so that's what I'm going to show you in this video. So this passage is a very good starting point. My name is Max Day. I'm the president of Jehovah Has Spoken Publishing Ministries. I'm a lead system engineer with over 11 years of experience in engineering. I'm the editor and translator of the Kingdom Study Bible in English and Spanish. I have bachelor's and associate's degrees in computer science, also master's and bachelor's degrees in Bible and theology. First, I'm going to briefly explain the golden ratio design of UCC-OO as it is manifested in the Bible. In order to understand where this is coming from, you must watch the Introduction to the Golden Ratio Design Bible Concepts video, available on YouTube at the address below. It's also available on my YouTube homepage, if that's the right term to use, where all the other videos are found. And you can also find it on my website. Unfortunately, this video will not allow you to click on this link, but I will put it in the comments below for easy access. After a brief introduction to golden ratio design, I will show that same golden ratio design in the human body. The follow-on studies to this video, be part 2 and 3, will build on the content of this video to show that the same golden ratio design in many other places in nature, proving that the same Creator God of the Bible made us and all things in nature. This is the golden ratio, or phi. So basically, it's a ratio of A to B. The length of A to B, A divided by B, is equal to A plus B as A is to B as A plus B is to A. If you do that, you have 1.618, and I'll go to a little more explanation in a minute. This is a graphical representation of phi. You notice it looks like a seashell. That's not an accident. There's many things in nature that have the golden ratio design like this. What exactly is the golden ratio? It is a ratio between two integer numbers, non-decimal, expressed as a decimal number, 1.618, etc. The numbers to the right of the decimal continue into infinity. This is known as an irrational number. Other well-known irrational numbers in mathematics include pi, 3.1416, and e, 2.718, and the square root of 2. There are many other irrational numbers as well. Who discovered it? The Greek mathematicians about 600 BC studied the golden ratio principle extensively, and the Greeks used it in the architecture of their buildings. Read more about the history of phi at on the Wikipedia site, golden_ratio. This is the Fibonacci sequence. This is another way to obtain the golden ratio. basically it's a sequence of numbers. You can see the numbers on the right: 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21. And the Fibonacci sequence is basically, it's, you start with 0 and you add 1 to it and you get 1. Then you add these two numbers, the second add-in and the result, you add those together in the next one and you get 2. Then you add 1 and 2 together and you get 3. So you keep doing that and is into infinity. And you get 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21, 34, etc. Okay, so that's the Fibonacci sequence. The golden ratio can be derived from the Fibonacci sequence. If you take the result and you divide it by the previous number, or you take the second number in the series, like there's 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, so you take 2 divided by 1 is 2, 3 divided by 2 is 1.5, 5 divided by 3 is 1.66, and so on. You can see what's happening here. You end up with 1.618, a long decimal number. It goes off into infinity. And these numbers here, first you see 1.6 here, and then it starts settling down at 1, and then at 8, and then so forth. You continue to do that, these numbers here will stop changing, and only the ones to the right keep changing. So it keeps getting closer and closer to some infinitesimally precise number, but it never gets there. That's why it's called irrational. The golden ratio design of the first 5 numbers of the Fibonacci sequence is UCC-OO. So this is a very important, this is really the basic, this is where the basic of the foundation of everything in the golden ratio design of the Bible starts. The golden ratio design is found and derived from the Fibonacci sequence. And we find that if we look at the characteristics of these numbers, we find very interesting things. Number 1, the number 1 is unique. It's the addition of 0 or nothing plus itself. So nothing plus itself equals 1. So in among the numbers of the Fibonacci sequence, that is to say, the next two numbers complement each other like two sides of the same coin. Notice that in the Fibonacci sequence, it goes 0, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, okay? So 2 is the addition of 1 plus 1, and 3 is the addition of 1 plus 2. They both have 1 as the first add-in, so that means they're like flipping. If you know mathematics, you know that the complement of something is like the other side of it flips from 1 to 0 in base 2. It just flips the digit from 0 to 1 or from 1 to 0. So that's the characteristic of these two numbers here. And they all have the number 1 in common. So they're actually 1, 2, and 3 are kind of like a tight group. But 1 is unique, whereas these two are complement each other. So it's like two subgroups there and a larger group of 3. And then there's a big gap between the first 3 and the last 2, because notice here it's 1, 2, 3, they're right next to each other, but then it jumps to 5. 2 plus 3 equals 5, whereas 8 is the addition of 3 plus 5. So 3 is the second add-in for 5, whereas it's the first add-in for 8. So they're the opposite. The characteristics of these two numbers to each other are that they oppose each other. So, and then there's this gap in between the first 3 and the last 2. You'll always see that in the golden ratio design. There's a gap there. And so these two here, the two opposites, are distantly related. They're all part of the same group of 5. It's a group of 5 every time. but these two here are distantly related. They might lay if they're in the reverse. If the two opposites come first, they're going to lay the groundwork for whatever you find in this area in these three. And if they're in this order, then it'll wrap up some secondary kind of like after story. I could give you several examples, but I don't want to get too deep into it right now. So the golden ratio design, notice one unique, two complementary, and two opposites. That's the design. And this is a characteristic we're going to find all through the Bible. So I've just explained the golden ratio design on the previous slides. Now I'm going to look at the overall arrangement of the Bible and the first video that you should look at, which is the introduction to golden ratio design concepts. I go into a lot more detail about the golden ratio design, exactly how it works, but here I'm going to take a shortcut and just go to, assuming that you have seen some of this before, so you know where I'm coming from. I needed to put those previous slides in there again, so that just in case there's somebody always trying to go to the end of the book to see how the ending is, and then they never learn it and they go away disappointed. So you can't do that with a golden ratio design. You have to learn from the bottom up. Otherwise, you're going to miss it, and you're going to wonder why you didn't understand it. So the golden ratio design, you can see here in the overall arrangement of the Bible, the golden ratio design, the Kingdom Study Bible is the only one that has this. No other Bible version has it, because they didn't know about the golden ratio design when they arranged the King James Version, American Standard Version, New King James Version, all the other 3,000 or 4,000 other Bible versions that are out there. This is new. So the golden ratio design in each volume has 5 books, and the golden ratio design of UCC-OO is manifested in each one of those books, in the themes of those books. UCC-OO, and then volume 2 in the reverse, and the volume 3 is the reverse, and it reverses like that all the way through the Bible. So that's extremely important to understand, that the entire Bible, in fact I could show you all the way down to the subparagraphs level, that the golden ratio design exists on 8 different vertical levels. The divisions, volumes, books, parts, parts, chapters, sections, paragraphs, and subparagraphs. So we'll look a little bit in the next slide. So notice that each book is divided into 2 parts, each one with the golden ratio design of UCC-OO, or its reverse, so that each book has 2 pairs, or a pair of the golden ratio design in each part, and they're identical in each book. So in Genesis, you have OOCCU in part 1 and part 2. Exodus, that's reversed, and it reverses again. That's a characteristic of the golden ratio design in the Bible, and only in the Bible. You can't find this anywhere else, not in any other religious book in the world, only in the Holy Bible and the traditional canon. This is going to be important when I explain to you the golden ratio design of the human body. You're going to see this very same design, 2 pairs of UCC-OO, the same exact design in each one, in each part. So you got 2 groups are the same. So if I can link the same golden ratio design that you see here in the Holy Bible with the same golden ratio design in a human body, and even in the universe itself, would that not prove that the same God of the Holy Bible also created the universe and everything in it? Yes. Would it not also prove that the God who both created everything in the universe and also gave us the Holy Bible as his revelation of himself to us is also the one true God, and that all of the other gods are false? The answer is absolutely yes. So here, now that you've seen the golden ratio design in the Bible, you should have been familiar with that already before you came to this video, but just in case you missed it, uh, so each chapter has each book has 2 parts and 5 chapters each. So bringing that forward here, we see the design of our fingers. We have 2 groups of 5 with the exact same, or with the same golden ratio design of UCC-OO. Of course, the arrangement is it's not UCC-OO here, it's OCUCO, but nonetheless, it's still the golden ratio design because the same relationship is there: 1 unique, 2 complementary, and 2 opposites. In other words, you got one long one that is unique, stands by itself. Then you have 2 complementary fingers on either side. They're the same length, but they're or a similar length, but they complement each other on either side of the one unique. And then you have the little finger and the big thumb. So, and you have 2 groups of the same design. So there you have something in nature which is exactly the same as the Bible. Now, how is that possible? Well, I would say can't be a coincidence. If I just saw one example of the golden ratio design in the Bible, I would say, well, it could be just a coincidence. But here we got 2 of them. And then on top of that, you have this came off of the goldennumber.net website over here. And they found, this is totally independent of my ministry, that the bones of the finger have the relationship of 1.618 to 1, which is a golden ratio. So this is 1.618, the length of this one, and this is 1.618, the length of this one, and this is 1.618 to the length of this one. So you can see that in the x-rays of these bones in the fingers here, in both the thumbs, the fingers, and so forth. So it's pretty amazing what God has done. Here we have further evidence the golden ratio design in the human body. Whereas either you have one unique head, there is only one head. There are there are certain people in the world who were born had problems, but the norm is one head, which is unique. And then we have 2 legs which complement each other. They're right next to each other at the bottom part of the body. Whereas the arms of the body are on opposite sides of the torso. So there you have the same golden ratio design in the human body, and that's of course both men and women, 1 unique, 2 complementary, and 2 opposites. Interestingly, the sexual organs as well have the golden ratio design of UCC, that is to say 1 unique and 2 complementary. You have 1 penis and two testicles for the men, and for the women you have a vagina and you have 2 ovaries. So that's one unique and 2 complementary. And I bet if I went into the internal organs, I bet if I've tried to study it, but so far I haven't found more, but I'm sure there is. I'm just not a medical expert. But someday I'm going to find more of those, because if you found this much already in just the hands, and I think I explained the toes as well, they also have the golden ratio design, UCC-OO. So you have the hands, the feet, the entire body, and the internal sexual organs, and there's probably a lot more. One more thing I want to show you before we finish, and that's the design of the face. Here in the design of our faces, we have 1 unique mouth, only 1 mouth, and then 2 nostrils that are side by side, right? So they complement each other. And here are the ears. These are orifices in the head. They have on opposite sides of the head. So 1 unique, 2 complementary, and 2 opposites. Now the eyes don't count because those are filled with eyeballs normally. And so those are not really orifices. They have things in them. So the open orifices on the head have the golden ratio design very, very clearly. So there I've shown you the golden ratio design in several places in the Bible, in the Bible, and also in the human body. And it's very, very clear exactly that it's true. And it's not just a gimmick. It's not something that I just made up. But in fact, God did this. And the evidence is clear. This video will continue in part 2 of this series.